Hey, welcome everybody. This is the Love and Truth podcast where real, honest, and meaningful conversations thrive. I'm James Nelson, along with my beautiful wife.
Lene.
And listen, our vision is simple yet powerful to help couples create a safe space to have real, honest, and truthful conversations. And so let's just jump right into it. But before we do that, babe, why don't you tell them where they can find us?
So you can definitely find us on YouTube, and that is at Balcony Talk WTN. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and go ahead and hit that notification so that you can follow us and know when we're actually online and new episodes are uploaded.
All righty then. So today we've got a really interesting topic that we want to talk about
Yeah.
today. And but before we jump into that, I want to kind of set this up with just um a story real quick. So, as we were dating, been married 3 years, a little more than 3 years now. We dated for about 3 years before that, so about 6 years total, right?
Right.
So during the dating phases, you were coming out of a divorce. I was engaged, and there was this period of time where we were transitioning. And so for me, before we got together, there were some things that when I saw that we were really, really getting serious, and I said, you know what, this is gonna get to the next level.
Yeah.
There were some things that I needed to share. No, yeah, I needed to. I didn't want to.
Come here.
What's up? What you got?
I just want to fix this. I can't do it.
Okay, baby, let me do it. Just tell me I turn it around.
Mm,
You
I-
can't reach all
I-
the way over because you all look.
okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
gonna reach.
I was gonna reach over there and make sure my baby's good. But
Okay,
finish.
now appreciate it. So I felt like I didn't want to share.
I know you didn't.
Yeah, but I needed to share
Was it
a
because of my
truth.
promptings?
Yeah, you were prompting like a mug.
Because what did
Y-
I keep saying to you?
Is there something you want to tell me?
Because I felt it in my spirit.
She kept saying something like, "Nah, ain't nothing I want to tell you. I don't want to tell you.
You
I don't
didn't.
want to tell you anything."
Mm-hmm.
But it got to a point to where I said, you know what, I need to share this one particular thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because I didn't want us to get down the road and then
Mm-hmm.
this thing comes back
Right.
and
Right.
creates all types of chaos and confusion and hurt, all of those types of things. So I shared that.
Right.
So the question that I want to pose, and here's a question for everyone. Why is it so hard to say what we really feel or what a
Mm.
certain truth
Yeah.
to the person you say you love?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why is it so difficult? And so the topic for today is that can you actually handle the truth?
Can you handle the
So
truth?
that's a question we want to unpack today. Can you really handle the truth? We say, hey, just tell me the truth. Just tell me. Just tell me. Just tell me. And
Yeah.
then you tell them, the next thing you know, you're getting kicked in the chest. So uh,
Yeah, but the truth is good.
yeah,
It's you know what? The truth is liberating.
yeah, it is liberating after,
After the
but
fact.
but but
Yeah. Yeah.
but that truth in that moment, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about, well, what is it? What is the hesitation, right?
Right.
So we really invite all of those that are listening, that are engaging, that are joining our Truth Seekers community. We'll talk more about
Mhm.
that later. Um, that engage with us on social media. Let us know what you think about that. Why is it so difficult
Right. To tell the truth.
to speak truth,
Mhm.
right,
Right.
to the person that you love? And here's the thing: it's not just admitting some truth or admitting that you've done something wrong,
Right.
right?
Right.
It could be a number of things, and we'll unpack all of that. So
Mhm.
so this is a good opportunity to talk about our journal, the Love and Truth Journal, um, that we both co-authored, created together, and this is a journal that we put together based upon our experience over the past 3-4 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Things that we've talked about, the conversations that we've had,
Yeah.
the promptings that I received from you to come out and to speak the truth that I just referenced a moment ago.
Mhm.
And so give us one of the promptings that is in a journal
So
that yeah, go give us
and
one.
I'm really glad that I turned to this page because were apologies and forgiveness common in your household? Because you speaking your truth, telling me something that it was either, hey, this is going to be a deal breaker for her. We're not married yet, but I need to say this. If I were not a person that was a forgiving
Hmm.
person, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't even be here right now.
So, what the prompting was, what was the prompting
Were
again?
were apologies and forgiveness common in your household?
Right. So that's just really trying to understand what did you see modeled? And
Right.
so that's why this journal is really, really helpful for
It is
couples,
helpful.
for singles,
Yep.
married, dating, doesn't really matter. Again, if you're single, it's good for you to go through those promptings just so you can answer those questions on your own
Mhm.
so you can get a better understanding of where am I?
Right.
Right? Where is there still areas that I need to heal in?
Right.
Where are there areas that I may not have even touched on or um, realized that they were still pain points for me.
Mhm.
And so y'all pick up a journal. You'll see it come on the screen there.
And
You can prompt.
and the really great thing about this journal is you don't have to wait to receive it. It is a digital copy. So once you order it, and there should be a promo code because we're giving you a nice discount because we want you to be healed. But you can just go ahead and print it out and start healing
Right
like
away.
today.
All right, cool.
Okay. Okay.
All right, cool. So let's jump into this first area.
Let's go.
So what the fear behind the silence. So we're talking about not wanting to speak and share the truth.
Right.
So we want to explore what are some of the common reasons why individuals remain silent and they don't really speak the truth. And again, it's a number of reasons, right? So this is
Mhm.
not just about telling the truth about you cheating or having an extramarital affair. It's everything. So
Right. It's
just
everything.
what are some of those common reasons why individuals are silent and not speaking
Fear of
the truth?
rejection or judgment, or even abandonment.
Right.
And so if I tell you the truth, I'm at risk of exposing myself in a way
Hmm.
that I really don't want to expose myself because number one, maybe I haven't done it before, or maybe I did. And what happened was the person did abandon me.
Right.
So now I'm fearing you may do the same thing because oftentimes people that have experienced or have had bad experiences, they want to stay as far away from that as possible. Any means necessary. That means I don't want to talk to you about it. That means I'm going to shut down. That means I'm going to change the subject, and this is why oftentimes couples, you know, when you're trying to have conversations, they shut down. And this is why it's important to have those check-ins,
Right.
you know?
No, no, I agree with that 100%. Like, because I want to touch on even that fear of rejection.
Mhm.
And speaking from a male's point of view, most men don't like rejection from a woman, right?
Mhm.
Like if you're in sales, I mean, rejections come with it. That's one of the first things that they teach you when you're in sales
Right.
is that you got to get past the rejection,
Yeah.
right? You got to accept all those no's, get to the yeses,
Mhm.
and that's the only way you can do it, right? So for me personally, when I shared what I what I shared with you, I needed to do that, but there was a fear that if I share that, man, this can go one or two two ways.
Yeah.
What I got the comedian said, there's two things you got to worry about.
2 things.
Two things you got to
Yeah.
worry about. Right.
1
One, she's gonna be forgiving, and then we're gonna move past it.
or
And
2.
two, she's gonna be like, "Nah, I can't even deal with you anymore,"
Yeah.
which would have, in that moment, crushed me
Yeah.
because at that point it was like, "Yo, I'm locking in right here. Like this is my one."
Yeah.
And the fear of losing my one and
Mhm.
only one
Mhm.
was great.
Mm.
But I had to put that to the side and say, how much more important is it to have that truth out now
Mhm.
versus we 5 years in, 10 years in, and then somebody comes back and reveals it, and there's years of denial,
Mhm.
or not denial, but what is it when you don't say, you don't share with not abstinence, withholding,
So when you
when you
withhold
don't say
some
something,
yeah. So
um, omittance, like the
Yes, yes, yeah, I
admittance,
get,
right?
I get, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
Right.
yeah. I was gonna say another word, but that's a good word.
That's
That's a
what it
good
is,
word.
right? So for me, that's what I was thinking about before, because we
Mm-hmm.
listen, we go down to the beach multiple times,
Yep.
and listen, y'all, she would ask me the same question. There's something you need to tell me. There's something that you want to tell me. I'm like, and every time I'm like, no, I don't want to tell you nothing.
But I'm glad that you did.
I don't want to.
But you know what? This is why when both parties, men and women, understand that you have an intuition. When you feel it, you have to go with it because that's God speaking to you. And I was already prepped for whatever you said. And the reason why, babe, is because I didn't expect for you to have a clean past. You know what I'm saying? We weren't together. So whatever you were going to tell me, it didn't have nothing to do with me because we weren't together. And so another part of that is, as women, I really believe
Hmm.
that we have to give space
Hmm.
for a man's mess ups. We know, I mean, we mess up, men mess up. It's like this is what we do.
Right. Right.
And I would love for women to understand, if a person is being honest and shedding light on something, they're coming clean. That means if a man opens up to you,
Uh-huh.
women, this is probably you like, oh, I got me a real good dude because he's open, because some men don't even know how to do that. And
Right.
so for you to have done that, I mean, I didn't like what I heard, but I'm like, but I can handle that because I want the truth. I don't want you to have this cloud over your head. What's the Charlie Brown?
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of
Pink
the
peeing.
whichever
Pink
one
peeing.
that had the
It's
the
pink peeing.
cloud. Okay,
It's a little
yeah,
dirty one.
I don't I don't want you to have. I want you to be looking dirty and having a
Yeah.
cloud
It's
hanging
dirty.
over you. I want you to be free.
Yeah.
And that was important to me because I was walking in a space where I wanted to be free.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was I didn't like what I heard, but I appreciated you sharing and being open and honest. And that meant the world to me because that was the beginning of I can trust you.
Right.
We walked through some things, but it was the beginning of, because this is different to me.
Right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Holy Spirit calling you.
It's the Holy Spirit. Next question. That's what he's saying. What's the next
Oh,
question?
but the other reason was like fear of conflict,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
you don't want to speak a truth because
Mm-hmm.
you don't want the conflict,
Right.
right? And this is sometimes I'm gonna flip this and present it this way. If you're not being satisfied, if a
Mm-hmm.
woman is not being satisfied in the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Whether maybe she doesn't feel safe, she doesn't feel like the man is financially, living up to a certain expectation. She's carrying the weight. Um, he's not living up to expectations, with intimacy,
Mm-hmm.
sexually or whatever. Like he's not delivering,
Right.
right?
Right.
And the truth is, or needs to be spoken to him. But is there this fear of, I don't want to crush his ego, I don't want to make him feel less than, I don't want to emasculate him. I know black men are under all types of pressure, so I don't say. So what do you think about that?
I think that before that particular woman got into the relationship, she knew all of
I
that.
know, but she's in
And
it now. I'm saying
it,
she's
but
just speaking.
well, no, but because here's my thing. I hear what you're saying, but that goes back to women not walking in their truth. They like the idea of being married. They like the idea of having a husband. They like the idea of people like, oh, you're married, because so many women are not. But you knew the first time y'all got together, it's not gonna really work for me, especially if that was one of your deal breakers. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but I want to redirect you.
Okay.
I want got all of that.
Okay.
You chose. Maybe you saw potential. Maybe they saw potential. Maybe they felt like he was going. I'm saying you're in it now,
Hmm.
and now you need to speak the truth. Let's start from that point. Now I saw all of that before. I overlooked the red flags. Now need to speak truth. Why not now?
Because I think that that's not fair. That's why
And
I hear what you're saying. I honestly hear, babe, what you're
but
saying.
the
And
reason why though, why is she
yeah,
not speaking it though? Like I get it's not fair and I get all of that. But now I need to.
okay.
I,
So,
so what's
so
the reason why she doesn't?
because she doesn't know how to be truthful with herself, because that was on whatever, these are false pretenses. You knew when you got with the guy, you didn't like that. You were not satisfied with the size or how he whatever. Okay, that's fine. So what adjustments can she make? The adjustments, babe, listen, can we sit down and have a conversation? And this is going to be a hard conversation because I don't know how long maybe she's gone with, dealing with I'm not satisfied, with the intimacy. That is going to make a man feel a certain type of way.
Right.
This is why it's redirected back to her. You can't come and tell me later, because that's not fair. And this is and I'm glad we're having this conversation, because a lot of women do this. They're not satisfied sexually, but you knew that the first time we did it. So now the question is going to be from the man, well, why haven't you said this before to me? And that is going to feel emasculated. I wouldn't even know how to handle that.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you going down the path of accountability and owning it.
That's
I
what women should do, and I
I
need them to understand that,
I,
because they don't.
I know,
Okay.
and I agree with all of that.
Okay.
But we're still getting past the point of I didn't do it. Now we're in it. I don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't want to make him feel some type of way because we're talking about the reasons why, the fear behind not saying the truth.
Because now, if I tell you the truth,
Okay.
this is what's going to happen. You're going to ask me, and I have the fear of, you're going to ask me, well, hey, why are you just now saying this to me? So you've been feeling like this all this time.
Hmm.
And then I have to say, well, yes, I've been feeling like this all this time. And then, yeah, there's a fear now. You might be like, oh, okay, because that is going to that's going to bruise you and wound you in a
Yeah.
certain way. And what you're then going to do, more than likely, I don't satisfy my wife. And so now you're going to turn to another woman because you want to feel that I pleasure and somebody desires me. Because now my wife, after however many years, girlfriend, you're now just coming up telling me that it's this issue.
So let me ask you this. So is there a the fear of loss? So now I'm in it. Let's say financially we're good, but there's this area that I'm not
Mm-hmm.
satisfied with. I can't really speak that truth because now we sat family, kids. Now there's a fear of loss because is that part of the 20% or the 10% that's not right? But the 90 is good. Everything else is good. But now there's one area, there's one truth
Mm-hmm.
that if I speak, it can cause conflict. It could create, division. There's a fear of loss. Like I'm trying to get underneath the emotion on why we don't want to do it so that we can deal with, okay, so we can get to the remedy of it.
Right.
We can get to how we fix that.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing I want to acknowledge, what is the fear
Right.
of speaking it?
I think for most people, it's how it makes them feel. The
Okay.
person that's speaking the truth. Just like you said to me, it's gonna be one or two things.
Hmm.
You know, once you get past that, what's the worst thing that could possibly come out of this?
Hmm.
Truth sets people free. Truth basically uncovers, like, is this foundation solid? That's all it does. Truth says, let's see how solid the foundation is. And
Right.
then if it's not solid, you can go back and fill in the cracks, because that's what truth
Yeah.
does. And so when people are trying to hide the truth, that's where the problem lies,
Hmm.
because when something remains in darkness, you can't fix that. If you bring it to the light, we can work with that.
Right.
And it does set both people free. It just does. We've been taught from even children sometimes not to be truthful about things. We've been taught this. And um I don't know if you remember, but when we were talking about the child molestation, some young adults are taught to lie, because if you go and tell the adult, hey, this happened to me, and they tell you to be quiet, it sets you up to lie. That means if somebody asks me a question, I have to lie about this because I told somebody the truth and they said, don't say anything.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, that's good. So, a couple of data points, right?
Okay.
So 53% of individuals admit to being dishonest or withholding information. This is what I
50,
was trying to get to.
53%.
53%.
Mm.
And this is where I was trying to stay at
Okay.
right here, is that they're withholding information to avoid conflict or emotional discomfort. We'll
Mm-hmm.
get to the solution stuff later, but I'm
Okay.
trying to stay on the point of the reason why people are withholding information and not giving
Yeah.
truth is because they don't want the conflict,
Right.
or they're trying to avoid discomfort.
Yes.
Now we'll jump in later on and say, okay, well, on the other side of that discomfort is where you get your breakthrough and all of that. But we're trying to get people to see, hey, this is why you're not telling the truth.
All right.
And it could be personal accountability, like, hey, when you need to deal with some stuff in you, you
Pride,
have some things.
ego.
It could be all of that.
Yeah.
Or it could be truly that, you know what? I don't want to hurt the person that I love. I don't want them to feel bad about it, you know, he's not performing up to a certain level. I don't want to hurt his feelings. Or she's picked up a little weight and she's not as active, or she's not, whatever the case may be. And so I'm not attracted. So I don't want to say that because I don't want to hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
And so what happens is there's, and we're going to touch into this in the next segment, but there's silence. Silence creates what? Individuals that do not speak on their truth or speak truth to
Mhm.
their partner, it does create distance.
Yes, it does.
So when you think about the emotional disconnect or resentment that builds up, how does that manifest? What are some of the examples of how that silence? I can't say how I feel. Not that I can't, I don't, because I
Mhm.
can,
Mhm.
but I choose not to for whatever reason.
Mhm.
How does that create distance or emotional disconnection, or examples of that? What does that look like?
So when silence, we often say it's really crazy, but saying something and saying nothing both speaks, right?
Mm, that's good.
And so if you're not attracted to me, and I want to start just with this example, because I know that this is probably a lot of people's story, that it's hard for them to say.
Hmm.
You don't want to hurt my feelings. You're not attracted to me anymore because maybe I have gained some weight. I've let myself go where I don't fix up anymore. You come home, you out in the workforce, you see, other professionals, they're dressed up, they're well put together. You come home and I have a bonnet on my head.
Mm,
Well, that's not attractive to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to come home and you want me to look like, oh, my wife is a breath of fresh air. I'm
yeah.
coming home and I really want to engage.
Yes.
But if I'm not giving you that. So if you say something to me and you're like, hey babe, um, when I come home, can you start looking better? And then if I give attitude, or, so what you trying to say? No, you said what you were trying to say. And
Right.
this is
Because of the connection, the
it.
physical touch. Those.
Yes.
What happens?
So this is why I understand that oftentimes, whether either either person, the man or the woman, you're silent because you don't want to create the conflict, but it needs to be said because now you're suffering in silence. So here's the thing. We often say, well, I'm just gonna say anything to keep the peace. But
Mm,
there is no peace.
no.
There's no peace. You know why?
Right.
Because you're feeling like, man, I'm not attracted to my wife. And now, she feeling some type of way because when we talking about an erection, and then you think I'm cheating, and I'm not cheating. I'm just not attracted. And so here's where the problem lies. If you can't be honest with me and give me truth,
Right.
you leave the door open for
Oh,
different narratives.
right.
Now it's like, oh, so you cheating,
Right.
when all you need to do is sit down and have a conversation. And however that goes,
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah. That's real.
But babe, I'm not I'm not attracted because of this. And it's on me. If I want the relationship to flow and us to have a healthy relationship, it is on me to hear you out, to
Mhm.
understand what that is, and to course correct.
What are your thoughts on? I'm gonna give the stats here, and then I'm asking this question. So this is a survey, 2025 survey, as a matter of fact. Talker Research um, found that 26% of Americans in serious relationships reported being in a relationship rut. Right?
Yeah.
Key indicators included. Of that 26%, 50% of them said there were fewer romantic gestures. 46% said there was less passionate or just regular old sex. Just y'all used to be hitting all the switches. Now you just a little quick little missionary,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little side action,
And be done.
and be done. Right? Don't even want to look at his face.
No.
Um,
That's from the back then.
just
I
from the
mean,
back.
I don't want
Yeah,
to see you.
I don't even want to see you.
Hurry up.
Sick of you. 41% poor communication, and it's funny that so I'm gonna say boredom in the bedroom is 32%, which is interesting because it says less passionate or routine sex was 46%, and then boredom in the bedroom was 32%, right?
Mhm.
So really, you add them together, that's a lot around that intimacy and sex. So what would you say to um, many would say, well, you know what, that ain't important. It's just about. I think trying to figure out how to say this. When you get into the spiritual side of it, it's like
Mhm.
it ain't about the physical. That fades, and that's not important in the relationship because it's not just about looks. Looks fade. We all go through changes. That shouldn't be important.
So, I wrote here, when we withhold truth, we block the connection intended for unity.
Okay.
Being truthful causes you guys to have such a strong bond.
Hmm.
Here's the truth. You and I both, I mean, we've and here this is my truth. We've been together 6 years.
Hmm.
You still look good to me. I'm still attracted to you. I'm attracted to you because I'm intentional about just having a connection with you. In order to have the connection with you that I want, I have to make sure to remain truthful because that's our foundation.
Hmm.
We've gone through me gaining weight. You didn't Here's the thing. You did not make me feel any way because you knew I was going through menopause. I mean, you just knew my baby's going through a change, and you saw me have meltdowns in the closet, putting on clothes that I couldn't, wear anymore. But you also worked with me, and you knew, I know she's not going to hold on to that because we had a conversation.
Hmm.
You like a certain look. That's how you found me, right?
Hmm.
Now, if I did not care about our intimacy, because that is important in a relationship, okay? We know we're going to decline physically. That's not the point. The point is that if I'm emotionally connected to you, none of that other stuff even matters to me.
Right.
And that's the most important part.
Hmm.
But if I'm not willing, if we never had the conversation, well, babe, hey, you were like, I like, slimmer. That's why, a big butt, breast, that doesn't matter to me. And I'm like, good, because I don't have either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's great. So having said that,
Oh.
um, I knew what you didn't like. And so if I care about the relationship, I am going to make sure that I maintain a physique.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Sound like a tongue twister to me right then. But I'm gonna make sure that I maintain that because I want you to desire me.
Hmm.
Because here's the truth, and this is what people don't like. If I change up and I become that girl when you come home and I got the bonnet on and I got the pajamas on and I'm looking like a slob when you come in the house and you've been out in the workforce with all the professionals, see, it is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And you're not going to say anything to me if you want to protect my feelings, and I want people to get out of their feelings because feelings come and go. We want to deal with truth.
Right.
That's the solid foundation to everything.
Like message. It's not about feelings. It's about truth.
It's about truth.
It's about just being
It's about
honest and
truth.
truthful with each other, right? And
Yeah.
then you also touched on the key in that was that we had, and we have conversations
Yes.
about everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If I'm looking like, hey, it, I come home and the stomach not doing what it's supposed to be
Like a
doing,
baby Buddha.
like a little baby Buddha, then yeah, you don't say nothing, but you might rub my stomach. Hey, baby, don't rub my stomach. Hey, I'm gonna get it back tight. Um, and then you'll be like, "What you eating at work?" And I'm like, "Look." So it's just there's a safe space. That's where I wanted to pivot to.
Right.
There's a
That's good.
safe space
Mm-hmm.
that's been created in the relationship where we can talk about likes, dislikes, desires.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's a good point to talk about the journal again and pull up the survey prompt on the safe space because that's the first section of the journal because it is all about how do you create create a safe space. And you do that through your conversations. Ours was through our balcony talk, which we started in COVID. And we just would go out on the balcony and just have real conversations. And we would ask each other questions like, just pick one.
Well, I'm gonna just pick the first one. What does a safe space in our relationship mean to you, and how can we create it together?
And so I would respond with something like being able to communicate and share how I feel without the retribution, without the blowback, without,
Right.
you know, the
Weaponization.
big weaponization or the big inquisition, you know, because men don't want, we want to be open and transparent. We want to
Mm-hmm.
be just vulnerable. But what we don't want, and I get that sometimes you got to deal with that. That's just a
Mm-hmm.
part of it. But I think feeling safe in a way that I can just communicate a truth without it being a 72-hour, 2 week, distance.
Yeah,
And men
that's
don't want
rough.
that. So, but
No.
anyway, pick up that journal if you want to figure out how do I create that safe space
Yeah.
in our relationship. Or if I'm single and I want to know how to prompt and just create that within myself
Mm-hmm.
so that when I do get with someone, I understand what a safe space looks like and what it means to me, how I feel safe.
Right.
And so you know how to articulate that when you do get in a serious relationship. So that's that. Here's another data point. Individuals often withhold truths to manage partners' reaction, is what I just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
and avoid causing pain or conflict. But you just said it a minute ago. This can lead to a wedge in a relationship, blocking intimacy and eroding trust.
Yeah.
So you said it a second ago. You said, okay, if the man's not getting an erection. You got him all these pills. You sending him to the store getting rhino pills and trying to get the stuff.
I mean, this is what but
And
this is what people do.
but here's the thing though. If you don't have a desire, if you're not mentally and emotionally connected with someone,
Mm-hmm.
that don't really guarantee that it's going to work
Right.
because it's more of a mental and it's a physiological thing. It's not
Correct.
just I need something to help with the blood flow.
Right.
If my mental is not right, then that intimacy, just from an emotional standpoint, has eroded.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't feel respected, if I don't feel like I'm being valued, if I
Right.
don't feel like I'm being appreciated, you know what I mean? If I don't feel like I'm being supported,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's going to erode some of that intimacy because I really don't even want to deal with you like that.
Right. To turn off.
It's a turnoff.
Right.
So, one more point.
Sure.
86% of couples who commit to complete honesty and vulnerability succeed in rebuilding and maintaining trust in a relationship.
Read that again.
86% of couples who commit to complete honesty and vulnerability, I'll say this, after trust has been broken, succeed in rebuilding and maintaining trust in their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is that they commit to complete honesty and vulnerability. They create a safe space where they can just communicate.
And that means there's no way around being truthful.
There's no way.
There's no way. So I have written here, unspoken feelings become unaddressed issues.
Yep.
And unaddressed issues create emotional separation. You think that by not saying anything that you are helping the other person.
Right.
You are not helping the other person. You're not helping the relationship. You're not helping you. You're not helping anything. What you're doing is creating more of a lie, which creates more of a storm, which
Yeah.
creates more distance,
Right.
which comes in to tear the relationship apart
Yeah.
because the foundation is not solid. And that's all the truth is. It comes to show what your foundation looks like.
Yes.
If it has any cracks, if things need to be repaired, that's what the truth does. And so when people are like, well, nah, I don't want to say this, we have to move away. And I know that men do this more than women. We got to get away from, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Because I think that
Yeah, because women
for
can be savages.
a woman scorn is a bad beast.
Yeah.
But I'm okay, this is just me. I think that it comes from men that have um mothers. So you have a mom and your mom's soft and you love your mom. If you see your mom cry, that does something to you, especially if you're a little boy.
Right.
Because in you is this innate ability that, yeah, hey, I protect. You already have that working
Right.
in you. So as you grow up, you get married, that thing is still working. I don't want to make my wife feel a certain way,
Right.
right? But I need for men to move away from that because there is a way to say certain things, and I know we may get into that later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's
there's
the
a
next
way to
segue.
talk about that.
Yeah.
But the first thing is let's stop with the feelings because everybody's gonna feel something. You
Right.
feel something when you feel like you can't talk to me and tell me, babe, I'm not attracted because of this. If you do this one thing, then that's going to help me to get my connection back, right?
Right.
But you're concerned about my feelings, but your feelings are hanging in the balance. And so now it's going to move you further away from me because you feel like you can't tell me something because you feel like I'm going to feel. So all these feelings are in the way.
It's all
It's
in
too
the
it's
way.
too much.
Too many feelings. Get your feelings.
Jesus.
What'd you
Okay.
search when you was a flight attendant? Catch flights, not feelings.
Catch flights, not feelings.
So actually, you did segue into the other, telling the truth the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Right, telling the truth the right way. And
Mm-hmm.
so here's some practical things that we kind of researched and said we should do before we tell that truth. Okay, number one, um, reflect before you speak.
Mm.
Since we were talking
Mm.
about attraction, right? So let's
Mm-hmm.
let's touch on
Mm-hmm.
that.
Okay.
Is this truly about physical attraction, or is it emotional disconnection, unmet needs, unresolved issues? You know what I mean? And then you
Mm-hmm.
got to ask yourself an honest question. Am I still invested in the relationship and willing to work through this? So before you go talk to the other person, you got to ask yourself these questions
Right.
and do some
It's a good
reflection
question, babe.
first.
Yeah, that's
Where
that's
where
good pointers.
where am I at? Really, where am I?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because here's why it matters. Clarity reduces the risk of saying something hurtful or misleading. There have been times when I was feeling a certain type of way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be in the relationship anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of moved on. Um, but I didn't just say it straight up like that. You know what I mean? I said misleading things. And sometimes, we men and women do it on the same. They don't want to really break it off, but they really already broke it off,
Correct.
but they don't really want to say it
Yeah. You don't want to be the first one to
to
say
say goodbye.
goodbye.
What was that, Gladys Knight?
I think it was.
No one wants to be the first one to say
Uh-huh.
goodbye. So that's one. Um, Here's just some tips, right? Tips on how to speak truth the right way.
This is good.
And then you can comment on either one. Did you want to comment on the first one?
I want you to keep
Okay.
going. You're doing
So
good. Good
choose
job.
a safe, neutral setting. Y'all, this is where we created our balcony talk. This is where this whole podcast was birthed out of. Our balcony talk. Balcony
Right.
talk with the Nelsons, the Love and Truth podcast. So we created a neutral setting and a safe space so that anytime we're going to have a sensitive conversation,
Mm-hmm.
um, we went to the balcony and we said, hey, can we have some balcony talk?
Mm-hmm.
So the key is avoid discussing sensitive topics during arguments or when you buzzing, um, or in emotionally or in emotionally charged moments. Listen, schedule some time, schedule some time and space that feels emotionally safe for the both of you. Hey, babe, can we talk later today? I want to talk to you
Yeah.
about some things that I've been feeling.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Not when I'm in the heat of my emotion about it. Hey, babe, can we talk a little bit later? Right?
And I think if I can
Yeah.
add to that, and I think that this is where a lot of people make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
When you are emotionally charged, that is not the time to have a conversation. Or when you do a check-in first. Hey, what's your capacity right now?
Mm-hmm.
Find out. And when you're upset, I know that this is difficult to do,
Mm-hmm.
but find out what that person's capacity is for the day. Babe, so I have a question because I want to have a conversation. What's your capacity right now?
Hey, listen, I got a lot going on. It's stressed at work. I
Okay.
just Can we talk a little bit later?
So just that right there already says, okay, hold what you have. This is wisdom. This is wisdom. And so oftentimes in our relationships, we don't often use wisdom. Okay.
Or or it's like, hey babe, it's 5 minutes left in the game. Can we talk about
Because
this?
I've done that. I've
Yeah,
done that to you a
my baby will
couple of times lately.
try to strike
Be
up a
like,
whole conversation, and
and you like, baby, it's 1 minute left. I'm like,
can
oh,
we
okay, baby.
can we talk after this
Yeah.
quarter?
And it's nothing that I really need to say. I just start talking. But it's okay to be able to say that. You
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
yeah. Without you
So,
feeling some type of way, like I'm not. No, no. So, but we've created that safe space. In
right.
fact, again, in the journal, we talk about having safe space conversations. So, again, this journal is just really, really helpful.
Love and
Yeah,
Truth
we
Journal.
plug in it,
Yeah.
but we believe that it is really helpful. It's helped us. So, all right, cool. Um, Here's another one. Use I statements, not
Correct.
you.
That is when I say key, because if you start to say you, all of a sudden this wall of defense starts to rise.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, because
Wait a
hold
minute.
on. And I can't even hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So these are really good approaches to take when you're talking, babe. I feel like this, not you did this.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because here's an example. Instead of you're not attracted to me anymore, you don't find me like it's like you, right? And it says, try this instead. I've been feeling emotionally distant lately, and it's affecting how I connect with you physically.
Mm.
I'm feeling some distance right now.
Mm.
We're not connecting physically. Um,
That statement, and I know this is not for us, but just listening to that, now I don't have any walls built up. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's like, okay, well, wait a minute. What
it
did you just
invites
say?
dialogue.
Correct. Versus it's not accusatory.
You
It's
get
not,
defensive.
yeah, I don't have to do that. I don't have to defend myself because of what you just said. It's like, well, how long have you been feeling
Yeah,
like this? Like, wait a
when
minute.
did this happen?
Yeah.
And why did
Did
you?
I miss something?
Yeah, it invokes dialogue.
Okay.
And I'm the last one, then we'll move on.
Okay.
So focus on emotional intimacy first. Often attraction fades not because of appearance, but due to lack of emotional connection. Rebuilding that connection can reignite desire. Here's something that we do, and I really applaud us for this. We have regular check-in.
We do.
And I'll be honest, most of the time my wife initiates the check-ins and she say, "Hey, let's do a check-in. So where you at? How you feeling? Where are we at?"
Yes.
These are real questions that she's asking. And if something's going on, boom, we just open the door to have a conversation.
Right.
Well, I've been kind of feeling like this, or I've been thinking this, or I'm stressed about that, or you know what I mean? Whatever it is, that creates a safe space for us to actually get into that conversation. We ain't in the middle of an argument.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't there's no friction. If we're having a weekly check-in. Again, that's what our balcony talk is all about.
Right.
Let's do a check-in. How you doing? You good? How's work going?
So
See, yeah,
just
go
for our
ahead.
viewers, for you guys that don't know about balcony talk, it's just a metaphor for a safe space.
Yes.
That's what this is all about. We want to create a safe space for each other. We want couples, people that are in whatever relationship. This doesn't have to just be romantic. It can be, a mom with her children, because some moms don't know. I mean, when I was growing up, I never knew anything about a safe space. I just knew I wasn't safe. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so, this is for everybody. So create a balcony talk experience, metaphor, safe space for whatever relationship you're in, because all it's going to do is cause you to have healthy
yeah.
relationships.
And we're so conditioned to not talk, not oh, and when we grew up, shut up, stay in a child's place, don't speak unless you're spoken to, stop crying,
Yeah.
don't do this, don't express.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's kind of how we were conditioned. And
Unfortunate.
yeah, and then I think we kind of flipped with our the generations after us.
Oh, yeah.
And we just go and just express yourself a little, Tommy. Just say how you feel. I hate you, mom.
Yeah. That could never happen in black households. You're
It's
gonna
okay.
get a beat
It's okay,
down.
Tommy. Just release. Nah, Tommy about to
Tom,
get hemmed up.
yeah,
There's boundaries, little fella. So
yeah,
you
there are.
respect the boundaries. Yeah,
Right,
hey, here are your boundaries. You can speak. And again, understanding time, space, and place.
right, right,
Right. That's
right,
that's the other thing, right?
right.
So the last segment is about the truth changes um, the relationship, and I'll just say this, right? Getting a breakthrough from truth.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we touched on it earlier. We said, hey, when I share that particular truth with you, even though we had to work through that, there was a breakthrough that took place because it anchored us in something.
Correct.
Right. So what the truth can do, it can anchor you in a position. And so when you're anchored in your relationship and you're anchored in a position, storms still come,
Right,
right?
right.
Billows still blow, I mean, whatever the song is. I told the storm.
Hey, you told it to go.
Yeah, but all that still happens,
Right.
but you're anchored in something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when
Mm-hmm.
you're anchored in like truth, nothing can really come in and cause any type of
So truth exposes what's hidden. That's all it does. And it doesn't come to harm, it comes to heal and to refine. That's what the truth does.
right.
And until people understand this thing about the truth, this is why the spirit of truth. That's why I love the Holy Spirit. He's the spirit of truth. And when somebody's saying something to you, if you use the spirit of truth, you have a built-in lie detector that when people are lying to you,
Hmm.
you feel something. It's
Like that
like ding, ding,
conviction.
ding, 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 ding. When we are in tune with the
Hmm.
spirit of truth, if we have him, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it comes to refine and heal. This is why until you're ready to heal, until you want your marriage healed, until you want relationships
Hmm.
that you're with to heal, That won't happen until you reveal the truth.
Right.
It didn't say your feelings. Reveal the truth.
Right.
Let me reveal my feelings. That is not what it's reveal the truth.
Yeah.
And so this is why it's important when you are in a relationship, let's not think about how a person is going to feel. And that's going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of people when they start doing this because you're so used to, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I want to protect. Well, it's a false sense of protection
Hmm.
because if there's a lie, you're not protecting anybody.
Honestly, you're exposed.
And the truth comes to expose what's hidden.
Hmm.
And you want to expose that because I need to see what is this relationship built on?
Hmm.
Because if I can't tell you the truth about something, well, we got a lot of cracks in this foundation, and we know if it's a house,
Hmm.
and we all know if we know anything about a house, if it's a crack in the foundation, the house tends to lean. When you close the door, it might not close all the way. It's just a lot of things take place. You don't want any cracks in your
Right.
foundation.
That's why they say it speaking truth to power,
It
right?
is.
And then having friends that's going to give you the truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got to have people around you that's going to speak truth and not enable you,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not going to name names, but if you think about people that have gotten jammed up, whether it be celebrities or people you just know, it was because people did not speak truth to
Truth.
them and let
Right.
them know that, hey, yo, you out of pocket, you out of bounds. That's not right. And sometimes speaking truth at the risk of losing friendships, relationships, family ships, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. But
Yeah.
you got to stand on that. You got to stand on. Listen, you may not like it, but it's the truth. And
It's
I'm
the
not
truth.
and I'm not saying that to hurt you. I'm not saying that out of pride or ego. I'm not being judgmental. I'm not doing any of that.
Because the truth is there's freedom in walking in truth versus pretending in peace. You pretending
Mm,
everything is okay. No, this is not any peace. I'm not at peace. This is what I know. Whew. We go through life an extended period of
hmm.
time and we are pretending to be at peace and we're not, and this is why we're all over the place
Yeah.
because we have made a decision. I'm not going to share this. I'm not going to say what happened. I'm not going to reveal any of this. All the while you are pretending like you're in peace, and you just you this is why so much anxiety and depression
Hmm.
with people, because you refuse not to be honest with yourself
First.
and confess what's going on with you. That's how we get saved. You gotta confess. So you think if you gotta confess for your salvation experience, you mean you don't need to confess about where you are
No.
but
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
No, you definitely got it. Okay. You
Okay.
got a question.
I do. Well, okay. So this is and for you guys that have questions, we definitely want you to email us, and you can email us at balconytalkwtn@gmail.com. So next we're just going to go into one of the questions that we've received. These questions are anonymous unless you say, hey, it's okay for us, say my name, and we definitely will. But here's a question that we have. If your spouse consistently avoids conversations or shuts down when important subjects are brought up, how do you handle this? Because it's becoming emotionally draining and frustrating. So
Mm.
somebody's spouse is consistently avoiding conversations and shutting down. What?
I mean, the
How
first
would you
thing that
tell
comes to
them?
mind to me is like before I get into the question, I want to understand, well, why is it that why are you shutting down? What about this particular subject
Hmm.
causes you to, because clearly it's a trigger of some sort.
Correct.
Something has happened whether it be in a previous relationship, childhood, family dynamic, or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be, I would put aside the question and the answer for a second. Why do you, why are you feeling the way you're feeling about responding to certain things? Like, why are you shutting down?
Mhm.
What's happened? I would want to know, get to the root of what that is and go through that five why,
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah.
But why?
But why? Yeah.
Why is this subject so difficult to
Right.
talk about? I don't want to talk about it. But why don't you want to talk about it?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because it's happened. But why does that affect, why is that still affecting you today?
Yeah.
Well, and then you just go through this process. They say you ask five whys, you can typically get to the root of what the problem is.
Well, okay.
But why?
Why? Yeah. And I
Yeah.
and I know that that could be very, frustrating, you wanting to have a conversation, but I think that you stated some things earlier about just the right time and when to have
Yes.
those conversations. And I think that people need to be aware of, like we were talking about, capacity. Timing is everything.
Hmm.
It really, really is. And you don't want to talk about something in the heat of a moment, or you are emotionally charged, or it goes back to this: have you created a safe space for that person to be able to even sit
Yes.
down and talk to you? Because I know
That's a good
for a
point.
lot of women, you know our like for me, and when it comes to you and I, like if somebody's trying to handle you or saying something about you or whatever, I like, you can say something about me, but my husband, James Nelson, like, it's gonna be, oh, okay. I'm gonna forget about Christianity for a minute. You know what I'm saying? You know that about me. So knowing your partner is all I'm saying is very important.
Yeah.
Knowing what their triggers are. And so if you know that if you come at them a certain way, and that's why I'm bringing that up, but if you coming at them a certain way, that's going to trigger them, and you're not going to get the response that you want. You're going to get that same response.
And that's a good point because you're saying, why are they shutting down on different? Give me some more history and background. How have y'all communicated before?
That's all.
What have been some of the issues that have been brought up?
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what I mean? So no, that's a great question. So it's never just one answer,
No, it's not.
right?
Yeah.
But to me, getting to the root of it and understanding why they feel this way, and then ask yourself, am I asking these questions or having these conversations at the inopportune time?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
So listen, that's all. Listen, that's all we have. Listen, I'm going to say one more time. Get you a copy of this Love and Truth
Yes.
Journal. It is available to you. It's a digital copy. As soon as you make your order, it'll come straight to your email, and you can download the whole book or journal, or you can download one section at a time, and you can work it on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
But I will recap with this, with a question. Um, what truth are you holding back? And what would it change if you finally said it out loud? That's a question for you to take
Wow.
away. Think about that. Until next time, thank you for joining us on the Love and Truth podcast. Baby, where can they find us again?
You can find us on YouTube at Balcony Talk WTN. Please go on, subscribe, like, share, and hit that notification so that you know whenever we've uploaded anything new. Until next episode, peace.
Peace.